Hello SS2 economic students, you are welcome to class. In today's lesson, we are going to continue with public finance. We are going to look at the sources of government revenue, the types of government revenue, the types of government expenditure, and the objectives of government expenditure. Let's start with the sources of government revenue. Number one is taxes. Taxes are compulsory levy that are imposed on the income of companies, on the income of individuals, and on goods and services. And we have three types of taxes. We have import duties, export duties, and excise duties. Number two, royalty. Royalty are amounts of money that are paid by mining companies to the government for extraction of natural resources. So royalties are also examples of government revenue. Then you have fines and fees. Now, fines that are paid by violators of the law, those ones that violate the law, or fees that are paid fees that are paid by probably maybe drivers, road users, and fees that are paid by users of the law courts are also methods of government revenue. Number four is grants and aid. Government gets revenue from grants and aid from foreign countries. Then also you have revenue from government corporations. So government also gets revenue from government corporations. So those are the sources of government revenue. Now, what are the types of government revenue? We have two types of government revenue. You have the recurrent revenue and the capital revenue. Recurrent revenue are those revenues that are obtained from taxes, that is, revenue that are obtained on a regular basis. While capital revenue are those revenue that come once in a while. Capital revenue are obtained from grants and aids, or revenue from the sale of government capital properties or government capital assets. Now, government expenditure. Now, government expenditure refers to government spending or reasons why government spend money. There are two types of government expenditure. We have capital expenditure and recurrent expenditure. Capital expenditure refers to expenditure on capital goods or capital assets, like probably maybe construction of roads, construction of bridges, construction of schools, and so on. So that's an example of a capital expenditure. While recurrent expenditure refers to government expenditure on regular basis, maybe maintenance of government facility, payment of administration fees, fines, and so on. Now, what are the objectives of government revenue? What are the objectives of government expenditure rather? Now, government expenditure are carried out for the following reasons. Number one objective of government expenditure is for general administration, that is to pay workers working for the government. So for general administration and control, maybe to pay civil servants, for payment of government officials, senators, House of Rep members, and so on. Number two, to maintain security, both internally and externally. Government spends its revenue in order to maintain security of life and property. Then number three, to increase its revenue. Government spend in order to increase its revenue, maybe for government corporations, for production and creation of basic amenities. Then number four is for capital expenditure, probably maybe to create capital goods, like a corporation, to create essential services for members of the public. Then we also have other reasons why government expend in the country. A very good example of the reason why government expend is for foreign aids, maybe to provide aids to members of the public, then to create social services to members of the public, to provide schools, to provide security, to provide social amenities like water, transportation, and so on. So we can group all of these government activities in terms of expenditure into grants, into maintenance of defense and security, provision of social amenities, provision of infrastructure, construction and building of roads, and for general administration. Now, let's look at taxation. We said that tax refers to a compulsory levy that is imposed by the government on goods and on income of individuals. So we impose taxes on income of individuals, on profit of companies, and also on goods and services. There are three systems of taxation. You have the regressive tax, the proportional tax, and the progressive tax. The progressive tax refers to a situation in which individuals with high income are taxed higher. A system in which the more you earn, the more tax you pay. That's a progressive tax system. That is, this is a tax system in which as income increases, tax increases. That's progressive tax. Number two is regressive tax. Regressive tax system is a tax system in which tax revenue or tax levy increases as income reduces, or basically as income increases, tax levies reduces. When you earn more income, your tax levy will reduce or will fall. While proportional tax system is a tax system in which there is a flat rate in which every individual in the country pays. That is, you pay the same rate of tax irrespective of the amount of income that you earn. That is, high income earners and low income earners pay the same rate of taxation in terms of proportional tax. Incidence of taxation. Now, incidence of taxation explains the individual or the person in which bears the most burden of taxation when government impose taxes. Between the producer and the consumer, who bears more of the burden of taxation? That's what we talk about when we are looking at incidence of taxation. Now, the incidence of taxation are two. You have the formal incidence and you have the effective incidence. The formal incidence of taxation refers to the individual that bears the initial burden of taxation, while the effective incidence refers to the individual that bears the subsequent or the last effect of taxation. Now, having said this, there are 5 ways of understanding the incidence of taxation, and you must understand that when taxes are imposed on goods, the producer bears the formal incidence, while the effective incidence is borne by the consumers. Now, under the 5 major effects of taxation, we can observe the elasticities of demand on goods and see the effect of taxes on these elasticities. Number 1, when demand is elastic, the burden is borne more by the producer. When demand is inelastic, the burden is borne more by the consumers. When demand is unitary, the demand is borne equally by the consumer and the producer. When demand is perfectly inelastic, it is borne totally by the consumer. And when demand is perfectly elastic, it is borne totally by the producer. You can see this explanation in the diagrams that I have provided in the lesson notes. And if you have questions, you can ask me in the lesson. So, have a nice day. We've come to the end of the lesson.